What's up, everyone? Back here on the balance sheet, I got Mike and Raj with me. Balance sheet top five. Today, we're going to talk about Becky Lynch and Becky Lynch's top five matches. Raj is up. What is your top five, Raj?
All right. So I had a lot of trouble with this one. She has a lot of good matches, and she's one of my three favorite women wrestlers of all time. So I made it hard on myself, and here are the rules. My top five Becky Lynch matches that do not involve the other four horsewomen. They have to be
Mm,
singles matches, and they have to be on premium live events, and I cannot pick the same opponent twice. So I cannot pick two
wow.
matches with Bianca. I can't pick two matches with Naya or Liv, etc. So I watched about 15 matches of hers in this criteria, and I got down to my favorite five, and I'm going to go in reverse order. So number five is a match I actually attended live in person. Asuka, the champion, versus Becky Lynch, Royal Rumble 2019. The match opened the show. And in the live crowd, I was there for that match. And obviously, there was a Ronda Rousey Sasha Banks match. In the crowd, that match looked like the better of the two women's matches that were both really good. I liked that one more in person. I ended up liking the other one more when I went home and watched it. But that was a really good match because it told the story of Becky kind of having no more chances to get to Mania because she wasn't in the Rumble at that point. She had to beat Asuka to get to the Rumble or to get to Mania, and she lost. She actually tapped out clean. So it was probably the last time that Becky Lynch lost clean in a one-on-one match for a while, and she did tap out to Asuka. And then everybody remembers she came back that night, went in for Lana into the Royal Rumble and won, and got one of the loudest pops I've ever heard in any wrestling event I've
Yeah.
ever attended. But yeah, that was number five.
It- she
No,
didn't tap to the Oscar lock in that one, right? It was like a weird kind of head, neck. See,
yeah.
I love that. I
Like
love when a
can
big
win.
match someone loses surprise, like in a surprising way. I thought that's a good match.
All right, number
I
four.
enjoyed it.
Number four, Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch, WrestleMania 40, night one opening match. I went back and I watched this match last night, and it's a much better match than I remembered it the first time I watched it. And it was a really good story of Becky just trying to beat Rhea multiple different ways, but just couldn't overcome the new, young, hot, dominant champion. And it kind of told the story of, Becky worked to get to this match, but just wasn't good enough that night against Rhea Ripley, who, now went from beating Charlotte to win the title to defending it against Becky Lynch the next year, telling the story that, hey, I am the new top person. I have beaten the previous two top individuals. So I just thought that match was great. If you guys get a chance, go back and watch it. It's much better on the second rewatch than it was when I remembered it the first time. Now the
I've seen it
top three
once.
were
I'm gonna rewatch it. I think I
the,
just saw it the one time so far.
Yeah,
the
me too.
top three matches. I could have picked anyone for one, anyone for three, anyone for two. They were all excellent. They were all almost perfect matches. Number three, Becky versus Trish Stratus, Payback, Steel Cage, 2023, also opening the show in Pittsburgh, actually. And this match was phenomenal. Steel Cage told a great story. They took some risks in this match, from Becky doing the superplex off the top, Trish doing the Stratus faction off top. It was a phenomenal, phenomenal match. And honestly, you can make the case it's the best match of Trish Stratus's career. I can make that
No,
case
I
that
think
it
so.
is her best match ever. It is definitely better
I
than
think
the match that she had with Lita, and it's definitely better than the match she had with Nikki at Mania. To me, that's the best Trish Stratus match, and that was a phenomenal match.
I definitely agree with that.
It's a good match. Yeah, it was hot. She's
And I
she's
think,
go ahead, Mike.
go ahead. I think they heard like the whispers of, the feud wasn't so hard and Trish was kind of washed, and they took it personal. And they put on a
So
show that night.
they did, and so far it looks like Becky's pretty money opening the show, which, if people don't know this, opening the show is almost as important as the main event, right? I mean, you want to get that crowd off to a hot start. So
Yes, that is a
if you're
good
not
point.
main
All three
eventing,
of
you want to
these.
go first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. All three of these open. Number two. Now, number two could easily have been number one because this match is even better the third time I watched it. Champion Becky Lynch, NXT versus Tiffany Stratton, No Mercy Extreme Rules in an arena I have attended, I think 11 wrestling events in Bakersfield, California, known as it used to be called the Rabobank Arena. And this match was amazing from the get-go. They were brawling in the crowd. They used weapons. They used objects from fans. There was blood. Tiffany was cut right away. Tiffany was phenomenal in this match. Becky was phenomenal. This match was the main event, and it stole the show. And it is an all-time classic Extreme Rules women's match, or just Extreme Rules match in general. This match was great. I could have made it number one. I actually struggled with not making it number one because it was as good as number one. It's just, you'll see why I picked number one in a sec. But this match, I have no words other than, again, it's definitely Tiffany's best match for sure. And it's definitely up there as one of Becky's best matches. Now, again, as I stated, there are no horsewomen in my list. And my favorite Becky matches are the two with Sasha Banks, the Unstoppable match from NXT and the Hell in a Cell match. Those are actually my two favorite Becky matches. But for the purposes of this list, I went with number two, Becky versus Tiffany, NXT, Bakersfield, No Mercy.
Good match.
And number one, it is Becky Lynch, the champion, WrestleMania 38 versus the challenger, Bianca Belair, to complete the story of the SummerSlam squash. This match was great for a lot of different reasons. Let me start with the openings for both of them. Becky comes out, white Escalade, big time Bex. Bianca has Texas Southern's marching band do her intro. She does the historically black college intro, phenomenal. These two beat the tarp out of each other. Becky gave her a manhandle slam on the stairs. Bianca did a perfect second rope what is it called? Shooting star press, or not shooting star press. What's the move when you do the front somersault called? Where you flip 360. 450, thank you. The perfect middle 450. This match was great. I understand why it was rated so high now watching it back. It was a great match. The crowd was into it. They were into both. They really cheered Bianca. If you watch how she won that match with the KOD, the crowd went bonkers. Becky did everything in her power, from cheating to trying to win the match. She just couldn't beat her. And it kind of told the redemption arc of Bianca losing at SummerSlam. Because if you watch the match, the first thing they did is Becky hit her right away with the manhandle, pinned her 1, 2.5. Bianca kicks out. Great match. Again, I can make the case this is the best women's wrestling match at WrestleMania of all time. I think Bayley versus Io has something to say about that, but this match was phenomenal, and it is my number one Becky Lynch match that does not involve the four horsewomen, and it's a singles match. And just to put it out there, the honorable mention I have is Becky Bianca in your home city of Nashville, SummerSlam 2022. That match was equally as good as the Mania match, but because it was kind of the rematch and everybody knew at that point, Bianca's not going to lose again, and it set up the Bayley return, I picked Mania. But those are my matches.
Great list.
That's a good list. you know, it's very impressive for those matches, really, and plus your honorable mention, since she had the baby, right? So I mean, she came back, and part of that is because you left the horsewomen off of it, which I think is a great study. But she's definitely had a lot of good matches with a diverse group of women. Um, you know, over the last 2 years, that big time Bex run, ring work has been really, really good, and I do think that that's Trish's best match. Um, it's kind of like Bianca, uh, Sasha Mania. If you end a feud on a high note, you know the feud's gonna be remembered maybe better than it actually was on the weekly viewing.
That's true.
That blow off
Yeah.
match is the most important thing. Um, well, no, I mean, you pretty much covered the gamut of things. You know, personally, I hate how underrated Hell in the Cell, Sasha versus Becky is. Uh, I think that that's one of the best cell matches ever. That opened the show as well, right? So,
Yep, that did.
It did, yeah.
you know, I think that I mean, that's a almost a perfect match. It's brutal. They did a lot of things that you know, you don't see in every single match, and there was good wrestling in it as well. But I'm glad you did the list that way. I think it, you know, shows to how Becky's always been a really good wrestler, and she's continued to get better. So I think she deserves props for that for sure.
I wonder if the Hell in a Cell match with Becky and Sasha is underrated because one, it's the red cage, which everybody hates. And number two, that night has one of the all-time worst WWE main events, which is the Fiend
Oh,
Seth Rollins. And
Yeah,
because of that match and everybody how much they hated that whole thing, it's like they got lost because they were on this card that everybody hated and people just forget about it. But if you look at these other matches, they're on really like memorable cards that
yeah,
people remembered. And I think the red cage has a lot to do with it. It's distracting. Like I did watch that match when I was trying to figure out how I wanted to do my list, and the match is phenomenal, but the red cage is distracting. Like it
yeah,
really is. So I think again, you know, we don't want to go into that, but there's a lot of you said it yesterday in our chat, you know, Bailey and Sasha's best work, Asuka's too, happened in like green screen, right? Like in WWE, some of their best work happened in with no audience, no Triple H as the booker, pandemic. Like it's great work that it's like liberal arts. It's like nobody saw it almost in
right.
comparison to the mass audience. But yeah, those are my five matches. I highly recommend everybody go watch them. We will put links in the comments so you can check them out. I think they're all on YouTube
They're all on
on
YouTube.
the WWE archive channel. Yeah.
I think the Tiffany one's a great pull. That one probably has less viewership than the other four you named, so we'll certainly try to link it in the comments. And that's some great study work if everyone wants to see how phenomenal Becky has always been in the ring, but certainly lately. So that's our Becky Lynch top five. Thank you. Thanks, Raj. Good list.
No problem. Thank you.